We're down here at the roof at the Cambridge project. So again, reinforce the main thing is all exterior top rails 2x2 angle by 1/8 or 3/16. 1/8 should be sufficient for the lengths that we have and the splitting that we have. That the 1/8 runs at the top. Make sure you reinforce all the bottoms so that the bottoms don't want to kick out in any way. Anything back to the walls, you know, put in standard brackets backwards so that, you know, you're not relying. And any of these tops that want to pop, you know, if they snap, either replace the whole piece or replace a section of it from another one. So, and start saving these so that in case you pop one of these off because you totally replaced it and it's already got the blue, use that as fillers for, you know, maybe a small foot or whatever. You know what I'm saying? As far as some of these rotten boards, that's going to be the last thing that we're going to deal with, is whether or not we replace up any of these boards. But if your foot goes through, you got to pull the board up, and then save that board as a piece for other fill-ins as you go further down. Okay. When you're dealing with these brackets, you have two issues. You have any loss of metal on this one, you have loss of metal on that one, and sometimes you even need on the opposite side, you need to put a plate if this is eating too much through. Otherwise, you need a clamp. You need that special brace that we're building that basically picks up this and secures that, secures it to here, and even then you still need to, before you can pop any one of these bolts, you still need to put in at least a 5/8, at least, or 2/2 in here. Be careful that as you go through, as soon as you hit that rust, it's going to want to destroy your drill bit. So a lot of times, right? So that's a very important point is that, you know, you got roof material, you got not a rubber roof, but you got to start catching the rust that's going to be coming down. Again, in some rare cases,
look at that.
if the board,
what do you do with that?
well, it's outside the line. You know what I'm saying? But in some rare cases, if need be, we can either patch it with a piece of thing on top. Again, the guy doesn't want to spend it, but you know, you can also, you know, patch it with a piece of, what is it, that 2x or 3x1? Okay. Again, the full activity is always on the metal first, and then we'll sort of work with the thing on any cement work. Even up here, you have to deal with that. You know, so you're gonna have to seal it or caulk it. Okay. Let's take a look over here on this. See the wood right here? Again. See this? And it kind of ends. This is as far as it goes. From here to here. It doesn't go any further, and it's a transfer. So again, all, I don't know. Yeah, it ends right there. And I think it ends right over there. And then they added this roof. I think this is an add-on after the fact. You know what I'm saying? So if you get the, I think if you get that area secured, again, just trying to get the little clips on this thing. It looks like the nails are half towed in and that not fully, but freeze and thaw, moving around. Angle. You know, things like that up there. You need to basically put that back up onto the roof up above your head. Okay? And I think they are very scary, yeah?
It's like you can't have more than like 5 people up here. So you're like, oh, that's pretty scary.
Well, we're going to fix it as best we can for you.
The metal will be done properly. The wood is what he's sort of skimping on a little bit, but we'll make sure that nobody falls through the stairs.
Okay, that's good.
It'll be safe.
Yeah.
So, see the thing underneath? And I'm also concerned about just how they did the, you know, every header is wrong on this thing. So you basically have to make sure that all of them are properly secured. This one is properly secured, and then you have to sort of see how you can get access to what you need to see in order to get your work done.
So the only thing holding the staircase up is that right there.
Right. I mean, you know, it's the standard way that you do, you know, stair construction. You know, you'd hang the wood down like they did right there, and then you basically, you know, nail it backwards. But I would come in here, and I would, you know, to create some angle to pick that baby up. Just got to get it all. It's a thought process. Every single one of these is a thought process. But the primary is the steel, and then I can come back. But you see how this is already pulled away from itself? Yeah. And once we see it underneath. And a lot of it, this is also the sistering that you know, and down here you have to make sure that these feet are properly secure. So, because what sometimes holds a stair up is not the top, it's the bottom from slipping away. You understand? And again, this would be another one that I need a brace from here, coming up here, grabbing it, creating a diagonal, and grabbing this. Then you still, before you remove those, you need to put in a 5/8 through it, and still I would put a clamp on it. So 5/8 a clamp, and then you start breaking bolts. But then you have to find out whether or not any of this got eaten, and you can sister it up on either side, because when you have excessive amount of rust, something got eaten, and once it's eaten through, do you put it on the inside? Do you put it on the outside? Where do you have access to? And so that means temporarily, as you secure everything, cement-wise, if it's just got cracks and it's well in there, just seal it up with that silicone. Anything that's you know, loose, I want an angle on the back side, 2x2 that runs all the way across and ties into the steel, so that the tops of these need to be reinforced, not the bottom. The bottoms, again, just need to be, make sure that they're connected, sealed whenever possible. And this is not a bad idea what they've done here, so that if all of a sudden you see that the bottoms are wishy-washy, you know what I'm saying, you can do a doubled up. And this is not a bad idea that I see here. Maybe instead of angle, just doubling up 2x, just use a 2x on top, and then on top here, basically, you're going to have to drill all the way through and use a carriage bolt here. You know what I'm saying? Because looks like that's what they've done here, you know. And if that's the case,
the most secure one out of all
right?
Too.
So it's that game plan, you know. You got to start looking.
You got this joist in there, so
right.
This
is probably one of the answers to a lot of our things. Instead of steel, you basically double up everything, tops and bottoms. You double up and you just carriage bolt it. Because that's the kind of Mickey Mouse thing they did in here, you know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah, there's a lot of bad karma going on here. See this? You see how much that's just dangling there? So that needs to have its proper.
Like sitting on a prey.
Right. Sitting on a prey, but at the same time, if you secure the feet, she doesn't want to slide away. But in the meantime, you need to get that area reinforced so that it doesn't ever slip away. Okay? But it looks like the doubled up 2x might be the answer, because I see it stiffening here. You know, it's definitely a stiffener, so it's missing this one here, so double up. So it looks like 2x4, you know, running 2x4s as a stiffener to the center is probably going to be the answer.
So instead of the 2x...
Yeah, instead of the 2x2 angle on the back side, you use 2x4 on the front side.
Bottom and top?
I would just do the tops for now, because the bottoms, as you start seeing them, but again, it's not a major change in securing the top and the bottom. You know what I'm saying? But you have to check the middle to see if there's no softness in the middle, because the last thing you want is somebody, you know, fighting through the middle of these things. If there's a fist fight, man, you can just go right through this stuff. All right, so again, going back down, the biggest issue is how do you get into this joint? This joint is a lost joint. It's tough to get in there and work on it from the inside versus the outside. And how do you get up there? So, again, scaffolding here will let you get into this corner. But when you're in this corner, you need to also secure it, you know, because it looks like 3/4 of the steel you can get from this side, but 1/4 of the steel you have to get from this side. So it might mean that you need to basically take a look. You got to look at where things run, and you might need to saber cut, you know, right on top of the 2x, and then remove these woods so you can get that area exposed. You understand? And then put the woods back, or put in a patch back in there of wood and or plywood. You know what I'm saying? And I would do it. I would probably do it all the way back to here. If I was opening up this area, instead of just cutting it right here where it looks like it has a joist, you run it to back here, so that way you replace
a
full you know, board of.
You cut it to this.
Right.
And you want to replace that.
Yeah. Well, you replace 3, 4, 5 slats, and that way it's going to give you the exposure that you're looking for. So it looks like we're answering some of the issues on the reinforcement. You're going to run some 2x, 2x4s underneath here most likely, to give the rigidity. You know what I'm saying?
You guys gonna start working on this thing?
Yeah, next week.
Next week.
Yep. And again, these feet, without these feet being tied in, it's a slip hazard. You know what I mean? Yep. You want to pick up some 2x And again, you don't have to get pressure treated because this pressure treated would outlast. You get regular 2x, and then it's got to get painted though. But these look like 2x8s, and you need some 2x8 material here so that some of these you just have to rip up anyway, and just put in a new board.
I have to on some of them.
Yeah, some of them. Okay,
And even
so
if you just take it up and push it into position, you reuse it,
yeah. And then not just nail gun, and we should get the our nail guns working too, because to a certain degree you can just nail gun a lot of these things, and then because instead of sitting here pounding, and this is a good example of where you have to come in and sort of identify just what's the next fix. You know what I'm saying? All right, cement. Again, we don't have to worry too much about decking because it looks like it was just plain decking wood, not pressure treated, that they just painted many years back. And we got quite a bit of rotten wood here, so if it breaks, it's 2x. Yeah, but that's a lot of times that's with a nail gun. So we need a compressor here with a nail gun. So bring the nail guns from Lynn. And then a lot of it is just the major sistering. You know, a lot of it is plating. You go 6 inches or 18 inches beyond the rotten piece. And just make sure that everything is secured back. And again, when it meets the corner, it needs to have, you know, what they did there. They put a piece of wood there so you can nail to the wood. But now, you know, do you nail to the wood or do you nail back to the, you know, do you drill it through and put in the carriage bolt? Okay? So this is probably the worst of them all that I've seen, where this thing is also going to need some sistering. She's got half the angle on the outside still there. So this might be one of those where you actually bring a piece of angle and you see it, you know, that's gone. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, it's carrying a majority of the weight in the center of the whole thing. So
just plate it.
It's a catch-22 on how you're gonna secure that thing, or what's the temporary hold.
You know, we just patch it.